Hey guys, Sarak here, and today I'm going to bring you an updated version of my Burning Abyss deck. Now, I love this deck. This was the very first deck I posted on this channel, and there are still ways to make it work at the moment. Also, I apologise for my voice. I am still recovering from COVID, but I am at a stage where I can actually speak now, so we will get into the video. So, we're going to start with 3 copies of Graph. Graph is your Burning Abyss that special summons from the deck. All of them can special summon themselves if you have no spell traps, or you get a graveyard effect when they go to the graveyard, and they all blow themselves up if you control a non-Burning Abyss monster. Graph special summons from the deck. We then have 3 copies of Seer. Seer special summons from the graveyard, forms important loops with Dante, allowing you to consistently have Burning Abysses in rotation to discard to make Beatrice, etc. Also, Seer has the second highest attack, which is relevant for OTKs with and Cherubini pushes and so on. Three copies of Skarm. Skarm searches any level 3 Dark Fiend type monster in the end phase of the turn that it goes to the graveyard. Torguide is a Dark Fiend type level 3 monster. Hint, hint. This is really important, and every single Burning Abyss player has forgotten a Skarm and lost the game because of it. It is a rite of passage to forget your Skarm search. We are then playing 1 Fiendish Rhino Warrior. We are only playing 2 Torguide. Fiendish Rhino Warrior and Torguide lose to hand traps. This deck really needs to have its plays go off, so we're running a high Burning Abyss quota and lowering the explosiveness of the deck by playing fewer Torguides and so on. We want to use them when our opponent has run low on resources to secure the game rather than to start the game. Fiendish Rhino Warrior allows us to dump a Fiend-type monster from deck to the graveyard, and also gives us protection. Torguide gets us any Burning Abyss from the deck. Skarm can search it. As I said, we want to run fewer of this card because it's hand trap insurance. This is the biggest ash bait ever. Therefore, we want our opponent ideally to have used their Ash Blossoms already, so we can then use this to secure the game. We're then playing 3 copies of Farfa. Farfa is our most important piece of interruption. It's a banish of any card on any monster on the field, so we can save our stuff from removal if we need to. We force our opponent's negates, lock them mid-combo, etc, etc. It's very important card and crucial for the deck's functioning. We then have 2 copies of Libic. Libic helps us unlock our hand if we brick on Burning Abyss names, and it's also in its own way just a free summon because it's one that we don't always care about normal summoning and getting the effect. 1 Calcab to remove those pesky set cards that sometimes get in our way. 1 Alich as a free imperm when sent off a Beatrice. 1 Barbar, which gives us a little bit of extra reach in free damage it does from the bin, and also has the highest attack for OTKs and Cherubini pushes. Then, finally, for the sort of actual monsters of the deck, we have 1 Snow. Obviously, can be dumped with Beatrice, can be milled with Dante. Incredibly powerful card for us, gives us free link fodder and extra interruption, and can also be used to proc our own Burning Abysses on our opponent's turn if we've got spare ones like a Farfa just lying around clogging up the board. Then finally we have 3 Effect Veiler. You know what Effect Veiler does at this point. It's in every single deck and will be in every single deck until the day I die. It is that good and that cheap. We then, for our spells, we have 2 Pot of Desires. We need the card advantage. We don't have lots of raw card advantage in this deck. All our cards trade 1 for 1. We don't play any really crucial one-offs, so we don't mind the banishing too much. But the extra 2 cards, well, the extra 1 card is very, very important. 1 Foolish Burial. It's literally every single Burning Abyss in the deck that we could need. It forces our opponents negates. It forces the Ash Blossom, etc. And, as I said, it's every single card in the deck that we could need. It dumps Snow, it dumps every Burning Abyss. 1 Call by the Grave, because this card is actually just should be banned, probably, because it's very, very sacky and is also a DD Crow at its absolute worst. For our traps, we're playing 3 Torrential Tribute, because sometimes you just gotta nuke the board, and we have graveyard effects, so we don't care, and we can't make Zeus going first anyway, so we need some way of interacting. We then have 3 Anti-Spell Fragrance, probably the best floodgate in the game at the moment. Like, Striker hates this card, Branded hates this card, so many decks really don't like this card at all. And we can main it because we play 4 spells in the whole deck, and most of them we're going to activate on turn 1, and we don't care beyond that. Three-dimensional Barrier, because Calling Fusion against Branded or Synchro against Sword Soul wins you the game. And this card should probably not be a card that is main deckable, but it is. It's really cheap as well, and we can play it. Just don't side this out against Striker. Just remember to please side this card out against Striker. Finally, for the main deck, we have 3 copies of Solemn Strike. Again, more interruptions, more effect negation is very, very useful in this deck, and just a way of blanketly saying no to problematic monster effects is very, very good. So, on to our extra deck, which will be relatively quick. We have 2 Dante. He mills for cost, so they can't Veiler it, they can't Ash it. And he adds back from the graveyard when he goes to the graveyard. That is not once per turn. It can do it. He can do it as many times as he goes through the graveyard. Him looping with Seer is our main way of staying at parity with cards. 1 Beatrice, it's at 1. We summon it over the Dante by discarding a Burning Abyss monster. Remember, it can't activate its effect that turn if you summon it that way. Quick effect is a Foolish Burial, so we can dump Snow, we can dump Farfart, we can dump Alich, we can dump Skarm, we can dump everything. There's a whole host of ways we can use this card. And then if it ever blows up, then we get to summon Purple Dante, or Gay Dante. As you can see, he's absolutely fabulous. And if you ever get the chance to bring this card out, you should win the game, because he can't be targeted, and you get to draw a card at the cost of discarding a Burning Abyss card every single turn, which is really, really strong. Because you get the draw and you get the Burning Abyss effect. Yeah, if you get Pilgrim out, you should just win. 1 Cherubini. Cherubini, again, also sends for cost. It protects your monsters that it points to from their own effect. It can protect itself, and it can modulate attack and defense as well, which can be important for OTK pushes in the late game. But yeah, sends for cost. They cannot Ash this card. They cannot Ash this card. They can effect Veiler it, but it's not going to do anything. So yeah, you will still get the mill. Most important part of the deck: 2 copies of Zeus. This is one of the drawing points to this deck. It is Zeus Turbo. We make Zeus very, very easily. We can make multiple Zeuses across the course of the game, and we don't care about Zeus blowing up our own field, or the 2 detaches, because we will get some cards back from them by detaching things like Dante and Burning Abyss names. So yeah, Zeus is really, really strong for that regard. We then have 2 copies of Downerd Magician. This is just here to give us an extra body underneath our Zeus. It's simple as. It's the same thing that has similar summoning requirements to Zeus, so you just make something over the top of this, then make the Zeus. Remember, Zeus doesn't have to be put over an Xyz monster that battles. You just have to have battled with an Xyz monster. One fortune tune, another easy way of making Zeus, and also a way of helping you win in time, and just generally a very gummy Xyz monster that can be a bit problematic to out. One break sword, because sometimes you just need to pop one thing as opposed to all the things, and again, it gives you another easy way of putting two Burning Abyss names in the bin at one time. We then have, for our links, we have IP Masquerena, and, of course, the Nightmare Unicorn to go along with it. This is an age-old combo. It's still good. It's still useful. Our standard end board is Masquerena Beatrice, which allows you to, obviously, dump something with Beatrice, like a Snow or a Farfa, and then go into a Unicorn. The Dark Charmer. We're a dark-based deck. It can search cards in our deck if we need to, and it can bring stuff out of our opponent's bin for link climbing and other plays. And then finally, one Boral Sword, because we can't play Axis Code because it's really expensive. So we play Boral Sword instead. I hope you enjoyed the video. Burning Abyss is still a really, really fun and pet deck of mine. I love the deck so much, and I would love more builds to come out of the deck, and more ways to play it, and more support, please, Konami. Please, 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 pretty please. But yes, it's one of my favourite decks. And I know I said there will be Cyber Dragons. I'm still waiting on some of the cards. I ordered that in the post. So that's why you've got Burning Abyss now, rather than Cybers, because cards are in the post. Anyway, I will see you again soon with those, and hopefully my voice will be a little bit less hoarse next time. And thanks for watching.